पृष्ठाया भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे हरे रामा रामा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव जय राधे माधव माधव जय राधे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर जय राधे श्याम सुंदर जय राधे जय राधा गोपीनाथ जय राधे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर जय राधे Jayo Jayo Gurudev, 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 Jayo Jayo Gurudev, 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 Jayo Jayo Gurudev, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hari Bol. आज गाऊंगा.
Thank you, Maharaj. Oh, Maharaj is here. Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
How are you, Maharaj?
Doing all right. Better. No more lockdown.
Yes, Maharaj. So temple is opening from Monday, Maharaj?
Well, we had some festivals in the temple. I think that mostly now for the locals. But yeah, the pilgrims can come. There is some social distancing and things like that we followed. We had the Chiradoi Utsav. Jayapataka Maharaj, and he organized like a big festival. We were feeding, I think, 5,000 devotees. Then there was Snanyatra.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes. Slowly come to normal.
Yes, Maharaj.
And how are you?
Fine, Maharaj. Our situation is also similar. The lockdown continues, but there's relaxation now. But still, most are working from home only.
Are you in the red zone?
What, Maharaj?
Are you in the red zone?
I didn't
Red
get that.
zone? Red.
No,
Red.
Maharaj. We are in orange.
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 Maharaj. Orange. Orange. Maharaj.
Okay.
We are not in containment zone. Yes.
Yeah, all right. So things are going on. Hare Krishna Mataji. All right.
Maharaj, last time we started the next one for the fourth one, but when you asked me whether we have finished the Guru Agya, so we had done Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, then we did question answer on Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru. So that was complete because I didn't know, Maharaj, whether.
Yeah, I'm not sure where we ended in that Guru Avagya.
We did tell Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru, Maharaj.
Okay, let me just check them.
Because that was an important topic. So, I told you we have done, but later on I realized that I don't know whether we're done or not.
Okay. All right, so we were discussing, we finished the discussion on the Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru, yeah?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah, and then we were discussing also that by bad association and personal qualification to be a spiritual master may be destroyed. Right? We also discussed that.
Yes,
remember. So yeah, I think this is where we ended. And the next is, okay, a little bit left. So then we will continue with the Guru Avagya.
Yes, Maharaj. Which verse is this, Maharaj?
46.
46. Okay, Maharaj.
A spiritual master who accepts an unqualified disciple is eventually punished. A disciple who worships a person not qualified to be spiritual master becomes lost. If the spiritual master and disciple are both qualified, the relationship should not be abandoned. So like we were discussing about the guru being a grihastha, then the disciple, then if he's desiring to be renunciate, so that he decides to be a Nashtika Brahmachari or a sannyasi. So both are qualified, and just because of that social, maybe what you can say, social status, that does not mean that one will give up his guru. That's not what's meant. The question becomes whether the disciple, if the disciple becomes unqualified. Like Srila Prabhupada, now on one initiation lecture, then he was pointing out, if you want to take initiation, then first of all, you have to follow the 4 regulative principles. If you cannot follow the 4 regulative principles, don't take initiation. If you don't follow the 4 regulative principles, I cannot give you shelter. And he repeated it twice in the lecture. So those are the preliminaries, like we are talking about, that the principles of instruction and prohibition. So the instruction is always most important, but the prohibition, until the instruction is not realized, then the prohibitions are very important because they protect us. So that's the principles. Always remember Krishna. That's the instruction, and never forget Krishna. That's never forget him. That's the prohibition. So when in the conditioned state, then the prohibitions, following the prohibitions is very important. And then we can follow the instruction also to some degree. Once we become purified of the vices, then the following of the prohibitions is not so important because they are naturally not there. The focus is on the instruction. So, and that's when the pure devotee is able to focus on the Shuddhanam, he is able to properly chant, and thus then he is not committing any offenses. That's very important to understand. So then, if that's followed, then naturally, then the relationship between the guru and disciple can work very nicely. The guru, he instructs the disciple, and disciple then he follows with full surrender. Pranipata pariprashna sevaya. But if there is some discrepancies, the disciple doesn't want to follow. The disciple doesn't want to follow the instructions, follow the prohibitions. So then the guru may have the option, then he just sees that he cannot give him shelter. So that's what Srila Prabhupada said. So we have to be very careful that we are always seeing how we can fulfill all the instructions of the spiritual master. Because this is what keeps us in the proper consciousness, what keeps us properly on the spiritual platform. Is that clear?
Yes, Maharaj.
A person who disobeys his bona fide spiritual master is the greatest sinner and the greatest offender in the world. Therefore, in the beginning, one should take special care to find a pure devotee, to be one's spiritual master. The prospective disciple should be concerned that someday he will not suffer the pain of having to reject his spiritual master, or someday he will not fall into great difficulty. As the prospective disciple tests and examines the prospective spiritual master to see if he possesses true devotion or not, so the prospective spiritual master should test and examine the prospective disciple. To disobey a bona fide spiritual master is a fearful offense. When they commit that offense, the demigods and human being perish. So this is another very important point. That now, of course, see the guru, Srila Prabhupada instructed. Now, if you want to take initiation, so then for 6 months you are under the care of the president, and you do services. Then, when you are seen that you have a good service attitude, the pariprashna and sevaya, then you may be eligible to take the first initiation. And if you are following very nicely, chanting the 16 rounds minimum daily, then after another 6 months, then you are eligible to pick up the second initiation. That's Srila Prabhupada's instruction. That's how he was doing. So and that's a Vedic standard. When a disciple or when a boy comes to Gurukul, then also for 1 year, actually the teacher doesn't really teach him immediately philosophy or anything. All he asks him to do, menial services. So, and he observes his service attitude. Because if the service attitude is proper, then he will be able to absorb the instruction. Like Pranipata Parivishna Sevaya. The Sevaya is what makes one able to absorb, then realize, from the realization, he is going to ask the Pariprashna. So the Sevaya is very important. So this is what the spiritual master observes. That's what the student actually can do. And based on that, then he can see whether he can actually instruct him and it's going to be beneficial for him, or whether he cannot, and he will ask him, please go and find some other spiritual master. There is one story I heard, that's somewhere from the Shastra. There was one disciple and he had a guru. The guru, he was teaching him Vedic scriptures. But after some time, the disciple, then he came to hear about some other spiritual master, other guru, some sadhu, and that he was very good in Vedic scriptures. He knew, he knew everything very, very nicely. He was some like a Digvijay or whatever. So then, the disciple one day, he went to the other spiritual master and he approached him. My dear Guruji, now I heard so much glories about you, and now I really would like to become your disciple. I would like to learn from you. And that guru, then he asked, and you have a spiritual master? Said, yes, I do, but he is not as learned as you are. No, you are definitely better than him. So I feel that I would like to learn under you. So, and he said, all right. So he gave him a glass, empty glass, to hold. And then he took his kamandalu and he started pouring water from the kamandalu into the glass. So then the boy, he was there. Oh, it's coming. Okay, it's almost full, But the guru, he continued pouring. No, please stop. It's overflowing. Don't you see? Nothing more fits in. And then Guru, and he stopped and he said, yes, that's exactly the point. You are full of knowledge. Nothing more fits into you. I cannot teach you. So that's the attitude of the student who thinks that, oh, he is better, that's better, I better do this. Because, why is better? Because I'm qualified now to take it from him. But it's pride. Meek and humble, he can definitely get spiritual knowledge, the absolute truth, from any spiritual master. Because if he is properly humble, he gets rid of his anarthas. And whatever that one spiritual master may not say, he will be qualified to be instructed by Chaitya Guru to receive the instruction. So there is no any disqualification on the part of the spiritual master. But the sincerity must be there. That's the pranipata. So if everything is in proper place, then there will be no problem. Now, so that's what the spiritual master does. Now, the instruction is also that the student, prospective student, should test the spiritual master, right? He should see whether he will be in good standing, whether he is good. But the question is, how is he going to do it? But he, being conditioned, is unable to understand the level of consciousness of the spiritual master. So what he should do, that he should see that he can get inspired by such spiritual master. The inspiration should be on the level of that he can surrender to him. That means that whatever instruction he gets from the spiritual master, he is inspired enough to follow the instruction. If he does that, he will be able to progress, no doubt. And whether not to see if he is good standing, or then he should consult with some senior Vaishnavas and inquire if that's necessary. So he can do that. But judging by his own, he is going to judge some externals, and he is not going to be able to decide whether he is good or not. Like an example, we see that Gorkeshwar Babaji, if you would see him by his external behavior, you would definitely not be able to say that he is Uttamadhikari. He didn't want anybody to see that. But it was Bhaktivinoda Thakur who then instructed his son, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, to take initiation from him, and took long time. He wanted to really see the sincerity. No, okay, it happened. Or then from Chaitanya Charitamrita, we hear about Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar Pandit, he went to Pundarik Vidyanidhi with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then immediately also he didn't recognize who actually he is. He thought he is some zamindar who is very rich and just he's living opulent life, and then he cannot really be very devoted. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, understanding the heart of Gadadhar, then he chanted one verse from Gopi Gita, and Pundarik Vidyanidhi immediately in ecstasy started rolling on the ground in those expensive clothes, whatever he had on. So Gadadhar Pandit understood. So disciples should never judge spiritual master on his external attributes. So if he is inspired, if he is inspired also by his senior disciples, that he can have some association. Nowadays, it's also very difficult now for disciples to directly associate with spiritual master. But especially in the beginning, it's very important. The Vapu association is very important. But it's very rare to get. No. So if that's not possible directly, then it should be through the most senior disciples of the spiritual master. Some sadhu sangha must be there. So if there is some good relationship, the exchanges, if those go on, then the devotee is happy and inspired. Then it's advised, yes, then you can take shiksha and diksha from the spiritual master. But if the inspiration is not there, if he is not seeing that, then there is a good chance he will not be able to follow the instructions because, oh, I want to do something else or no. And then it will be very difficult and it will come to some point, disaster, that he will come into a difficult situation, maybe even of a thought giving up the association with the spiritual master, which is very, very bad. There are huge consequences for this. Sometimes, it even happens that sometimes devotees, they reject the spiritual master, and not based on that the spiritual master is not in good standing. Based on that they got some better offer. For example, they may just go to Radhakund and see some Radhakund Babajis. And they get promised, okay, so then you come, I'll give you initiation, I'll give you Siddha Pranali, and you can become a direct associate of the Lord. So they thinking like that, then first of all, to take initiation from the Babajis, then you have to give up the connection to our parampara. Because by them, we are considered as Apasampradaya. They don't have good meaning about us. So one has to reject Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, all the acharyas, and that's an extremely severe consequence for this. I had seen few devotees, they had done it, and they are not devotees. They are in very bad situation. So one has to be very careful that once he takes initiation, that's it. There is no divorce from the initiation. It's one's most important moment in his life. Once you take initiation from the spiritual master, the Diksha, then you are connected to that spiritual master. Of course, in your life, you can have many Shiksha Gurus. No problem. And as we know, as we were discussing before, there is no difference between Shiksha and Diksha Guru. But when we are talking about Diksha, there is no question of rejecting one just because I don't like him anymore. So this is very important point we have to understand. And therefore, it's very important then to see before we come, before we ask for the initiation, that we are able to fulfill these conditions. Sometimes, some Vaishnavas, I have heard in some Gaudiya Math, sometimes devotees come for a visit, and immediately they, do you want to take initiation? without knowing the person. Just, okay, no, if you want, you can take right now. And they may become immediately just inspired, they do. But then it spells disaster for those devotees. Of course, unless they are not initiated, and then they take initiation from Vaishnava, from the Gaudiya Mat, there's no problem. But if they reject one and take another one from somebody else, then it's a problem. Is that clear?
Yes, Maharaj. It's a very practical problem, and we see here also that many devotees, they take diksha, and then after taking diksha, they find, oh, he's not the one. I've seen it many times, especially here, and then they go take shiksha in Gaudiya Math or or Babaji's and anywhere, and they are, like you said, Maharaj, that then if you see them after 5-6 years, then their devotional life is finished. But how to protect, Maharaj, when we are serving devotees as a counselor or as a monitor, whatever we may call? But then how do we? Because it is a devotee's own feeling. We say don't be sentimental. We have that disciple course also, but still we see many devotees, they get sentimental, and they say yes, he's the one, and we cannot judge anybody, Maharaj. Then how to guide devotees properly so that?
See, again, it boils down to if we practice with the devotees the 6 exchanges, then the inspiration will be there and will be growing. But if it's dry and there is no inspiration coming from that side, then naturally somebody may be asking him, what am I doing here? I'm not getting anything. I'm not satisfied. No. So of course, practicing devotional service, sadhana, very important. But what's also important, especially for the Grihastha devotees, sadhu sangha, associating, discussing. We have problems. You have to have somebody whom we can come with your problems and openly discuss, look for a solution, apply that, and helping each other. So that's sadhu sangha. That's very important. So these 6 exchanges must be going on. Then there is a satisfaction. From the satisfaction, inspiration. And that comes to following that, the abhideya, the process. And then from that, then it comes to realization. So if we just follow, okay, in the morning you just go to the temple, you meet there, okay, Hare Krishna, everything is, don't talk to each other, don't exchange anything. It's just dry, kind of like and then, okay, now I'm going Hare Krishna, and you are gone, and there is no exchange. Then how long can we go on? You have to have something, some interaction has to go on. So if it's not with the devotees, it will go on with the non-devotees. So the interaction will go on in your work. And because you need something, human being needs some feelings, needs to satisfy his feelings, something is there. So if it's not done among devotees, it's going to be among non-devotees. And practicing the 6 exchanges among non-devotees, it's not going to increase your bhakti, it's going to take away your bhakti. Because you start preferring that. And you start be separated more from the devotees. So the inspiration, that's all we can do. That's how we can protect ourselves and also others. Looking for any opportunity not to do practice association. Drate pratigrihnati, then giving some gifts, sometimes something. Oh, I have got some Mahaprasad. Here, Prabhu, I went to Tirupati and I got some Mahaprasad. Distribute everybody. Oh, you are so great that you are thinking of me. I'm so happy. Being able to respond when somebody is in difficulty. Guhimakti prichati. Now, bhungte bojate, invite prasad, like you do. And then being invited among devotees, discussing, and also some serious topics. Now, everything can be done in the sadhu sangha. So, and if the conviction of the devotee is, my life is satisfied, I'm satisfied in my life because if I have a problem, I have a place to go. I don't have a difficulty which I have to deal with outside of my circle of friends. I don't have to hide anything. So then one becomes attached. Like Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada, and in Upakhyan Upadesh, then he talks about the Balam rice and ghee. I don't know if you know this story. There was one zamindar, and he had a servant, but he was very strict. He was not a bad person, but he was very strict. So the servants could not handle that strictness. So every week the servant changed because they lasted for a week and then they were gone. So he has to look for another one. So then his friend told him, like the zamindar comes to his friend and said, look, I have a problem. I'm asking only the servants to do what they are supposed to do, but they think it's too strict and they don't last. What should I do? So then his friend, then he told him, oh, that's very easy. Now, what you do is then get a new servant and you feed him balam rice and ghee. What? Okay. Balam rice, it's rice originated from Bangladesh. And it's very scented. It's much more scented than basmati or Govinda Bhog. It's that type of rice. If you cook it in the village, the whole village knows that you are cooking the rice. It's very scented, very tasty. It's the best quality rice. So you feed him that, and with ghee. So then, naturally, he gets a new servant, and he starts demanding. But for prasad, then he gives him balam rice and ghee. So then, the servant, after a week, he is also finished. Oh, I don't like it there. I cannot stay here. It's too much work, too strict. Okay, I'm going. And he left. So then the zamindar comes to his friend again. Look, I did what you said. I followed everything. But even this servant left. And the friend told him, don't worry, just wait. So after a week, somebody knocks on the door of the zamindar. And then he opened the door. Who was that? It was the servant. And so the zamindar, what do you want? Well, I would like to work for you again. But you left because it was so much of work. No, I'm strict. He said, yes, it's true. And I also tried before and now, some other masters to work for. So some masters, they are less strict. That's true. But nobody feeds me balam rice and ghee. So I would like to work for you because I really like the balam rice and ghee. So the attachments are so strong that one can compromise other things. So we are attached to sense gratification. We are attached to so many things in our life. That's not a problem because that's a natural for the conditioned entity. But what we need to do, we have to learn how to regulate these attachments. So if we regulate these attachments based on the four regulative principles, and if we know what we need to do, practice among the devotees, then the satisfaction will be not only it will be that level that we will not need to look for anything else. So this is very important point to understand. We have to see that we do care about our situation as a grihastas. Then we have to see that we are doing our duties as a grihastas. That we take care of our family, we take care of wife, of the children. So, and therefore we can be focused properly on our spiritual life. I think we mentioned also the example of Kardama Muni. He also, now when he got married to Devavati, then he was a good husband. He was really taking care. He was enjoying with her, which was not wrong. And when the time came, his son grew up, he was able to take care of the mother. He walked out because now he fulfilled his duty. No attachments, he walks out. So no problem with that. Now, another example. You must know the Bata shoes, right? No, the guy who makes shoes. Bata, no. He is actually originally from Czech. And he had a system in the factories that wherever he builds his factory, then he builds place to stay for all the laborers. He takes care of their staying. He takes care of the hospital, the medical care. He takes care of their necessity in terms of what they need to buy, what their entertainment, some cinema halls. He takes care of the children's education. So once you become the part of the Bata factory, you don't have to take care of anything. Everything is provided for you, and nicely. So you become very comfortable. And then you start thinking about, did you leave him? No, you become attached. So now he is using it. Of course, now he is a Vaishya, so he has some outer motive. But the principle stays, whatever it is. So the needs, the basic needs of the living entity have to be fulfilled. Human being has to be fulfilled. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. But not like animals, but in regulated way. And if it's properly provided, you don't have to run around and look for your insurance, medical insurance. You don't have to run around and pay this, pay that, because everything is provided for you. Wouldn't you be more satisfied? And if you have that option, and if you already know you are running it, would you give it up to go after and run after something else? Unlikely. In fact, now he also has a system in his factory. Yeah, and the whole thing is called Bhatanagar, right? Even in India, you have few Bhatanagars. It's a city around this factory. And in the factory, he also had the laborers. he forced them to study, so that every 6 months he wanted them to see progressing in the level of their I don't know how to say the ladder, become more qualified, so get more money. So they were actually highly encouraged to do that. So they knew if I study, if I do that, I will get better qualification, I will get more money. It was assured. And he had in the whole world, in the countries, there were people who were running it for him, managing the whole thing for him. With those people, those few, he would even share his own profit with them. And people knew it. So, in other words, he basically invited them as a part of his own family, close family. So, he was very good in dealing with people. And I'm not saying, I know that he is doing it for profit, but not entirely. There is also a relationship. So now if in Iskcon, we would have that okay, you become part, you do service, and everything is provided for you. You don't have to worry about. But unfortunately, sometimes what happens, you are a brahmachari, okay, you are in the ashram, everything is provided for you. And if you, God forbid, if you take, if you enter Grihastha ashram, you are on your own. I don't want to see you anymore because you are not bringing profit to me. It's very, very dangerous situation. But it's very simple. As a brahmachari, you are bringing profit to the temple. Okay, there's a relationship. Now, I see you need to get married. So then, all right, no problem. You get married. We have a community here of the devotees. Then choose from there. Let's maintain the relationships. If the relationships are there, so whether you are brahmachari directly doing service for the temple, as a grihastha, you'll be doing service for the temple some way or other. Relationships are there. So it's very simple. Maintain the relationships. And if the grihastha needs some advice from the temple president, so he can always come and he will always welcome. In fact, now from my experience, from Gurukul, seeing the boys, out of 20 boys, 1 remains as an Ashtika brahmachari. 19 gets married. So, having brahmachari ashram and thinking that all of them will stay brahmachari, to do service as brahmacharis, it's utopia. It won't work. There's no question how it can be sustained like that. Recently, in Pune, right, and also in Chobadne, everybody's brahmachari there, but he dares to decide, kind of like, okay, he gets married, and then so many other start, because it's the ratio. Those brahmacharis, they are still brahmacharis, but they are not Nashika brahmacharis, they are Upakurvana brahmacharis. So time comes when they need to address the desires, which is to get married. So, and that does not mean that they are bad. They can still follow brahmacharya, but as a grihastha brahmachari. But they will do if they are inspired. So the relationship is very important to maintain. The proper interactions, the exchanges, then we can go on very easily without any problem. And you can have pure devotees as a sannyasis or brahmacharis or grihasthas or vanaprasthas. There is no difference. You can have pure devotee among any. And then the inspiration will bring us, to the highest level. That's what Srila Prabhupada is giving us. Krishna consciousness, Krishna prema. Yes?
Yes. Thank you, Maharaj. Yes, we understand that maintaining that relationships is very important. Otherwise, it becomes dry. So, thank you, Maharaj. Yes, we got the answer.
Okay. One should not sleep on his spiritual master's bed, sit on his seat, wear his shoes, use his footstool, or step on his shadow. One should not, thinking the spiritual master not like the Supreme Lord himself, worship another person before first worshipping one spiritual master. We were discussing before, when you do offering, then you are offering now to Krishna, but you cannot do it yourself. You need the help of your spiritual master. That's why now you put the picture of your spiritual master and now you request him to carry that offering through the parampara and it gets to Krishna. One should accept initiation from the spiritual master and hear his explanation of scripture. Accepting him as one spiritual master, one should offer obeisances to him. On seeing his spiritual master, the disciple should offer dandavat obeisances, falling to the ground like a stick. He should speak his spiritual master's name with devotion. He should never disobey his spiritual master's order. He must honor the remnants of food and other things left by the spiritual master. He must never speak harsh words to his spiritual master. He must humbly surrender to his spiritual master's feet. He must always act in such a way that his spiritual master will be pleased with him. Acting in this way and chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna, he attains all perfection. Oh Lord, this the scriptures say. If by associating with wicked people or taking shelter of the philosophy of wicked books, one disobeys his Nama Guru, one should throw the association of those books far away, grasp his spiritual master's feet and confess his misdeeds. The spiritual master will then give his mercy. That merciful Vaishnava will give him the gift of love for the holy name, Nama Prema. A person who is lower than a blade of grass and less worthy than a pile of ashes, but somehow has faith in the dust of Haridasa's feet, speak this Harinama Cintamani. Okay, so that's the end of the chapter. So we successfully finished it. So some questions on that. You see, now the last point here. When sometimes happens that one makes a mistake, falls down, does something wrong, then first of all, it should be confessed to the spiritual master, and then he will find a solution. There is always a solution for every problem in our life. So we have to just take it seriously, that's all. Okay, some questions. We have basically, 15 minutes.
Yes, Maharaj. So devotees, if we had interesting topic today, तो अगर किसी का question है, प्रश्न है, so we can ask that question. Yes, Vinod Prabhu, Rashmi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Starting of class, you said that we should make sure that the spiritual masters should be qualified. So how should we find out that the spiritual master is qualified enough or not?
See, that's the thing which a disciple really cannot find out, because the consciousness of the conditioned disciple cannot really understand necessarily the consciousness of the spiritual master. Example, Vamshidas Babaji. Then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, and he gave him Babaji. And he was worshipping Gornitai. And he was somewhere on the bank of Ganga, living there alone. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he understood. He is a pure devotee. He's Uttamadhikari. But he prohibited his disciples to go and see him. So why is that? Because not that he is fallen or anything, but because the disciples would not understand his level of devotion and would criticize. So it's not that Vamsha Babaji would fall down, but it will be the disciples criticizing pure devotee will fall down. Like an example, I can give you his worship of Gornitai was one day that he found that the offering bowls were missing. So then he goes to Gornitai and he tells them, look, you two are the Supreme Lord and you cannot take care of your bowls. So from now, I'm not cooking for you. Until you find your bowls, you don't get an offering. So then later on, then one bowl was found. Nitai's bowl. Okay, so I'll cook for you, but I will not cook for you. So now, hearing that kind of level of worship, how would you judge that? Oh, he's so offensive. You cannot do that. That's very bad. And immediately making offense. So therefore, one is not really able to judge. But what he should do, he should see whether he can get inspired by the spiritual master to follow the instructions based on Guru Sadhu Shastra. If he can get inspired by his sincere, the senior devotees, his disciples. So if the inspiration is there, wow, okay, I like his instructions, I like his approach to how he explains philosophy. Now I like to follow him. Now I like to help him in his mission. Now he is distributing books, or he's writing books, or he is into other things. I like to help him with that because I have some interest in it also. So it seems that that's good. And if after consulting with the senior devotees, those who you trust, those who you know, then if they recommend, yeah, that's good idea. I can see that he is very sincere, spiritual master. Then you can just safely take initiation. But you should not take initiation from a spiritual master just because you like one kirtan, or you like one class. Oh yeah, that, or because he has many disciples. That should not be a criteria for deciding I want to become the disciple of the spiritual master. Then after some time, he may ask you some instructions, like you go out and distribute books. Oh, but I don't want to do that. And then you get into trouble. So before taking initiation, then one should see that one can surrender, follow the instructions, and also one should discuss with the spiritual master. What he actually, open your heart to him and say, I'm grihastha, I'm a little conditioned, I need to do still some things like that. So is there some way, what I can do, how can I avoid it, or what can I do? And the spiritual master gave it, he will give some solution, he will give some instructions. Do you like that solutions or not? If you are inspired like that, if you like that what he is telling you, then it will work. But if he instructs you, if he tells you, no, you have to immediately take sannyas, just give up everything, and then, so maybe he is so renounced that he is giving you the right instruction, but can you do it? And if you cannot do it, So then, what will you do? Then you will disobey your spiritual master. So you have to be careful in that, and that's much now you can understand. So not try to judge the spiritual master, but see how inspired you are to follow and to surrender to him. That's all.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. Devotees, any more questions from Maharaj on this topic? Because this is an important topic to for our practical journey in Krishna consciousness. Yes, Saurabh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. Maharaj, in the beginning of the class, you mentioned that once we have taken initiation, then that's it, and there is no divorce in initiation. But then a devotee can hear from many Siksha Gurus. So Maharaj, so now when say someone is hearing from different Siksha Gurus, and then maybe say gradually hearing more from Siksha Guru and not so much from one's own spiritual master, is that can also means lead to a similar situation, like, because then someone will hear more and more of from the uh, other Siksha Guru and say they are also initiating spiritual masters, and then they get confused later on.
See, it may not lead necessarily to a disaster as long as the relationship and especially respect for your Diksha Guru stays intact. So yeah, he may teach you something, and now after some time you want to learn some other aspects of devotional service. So your spiritual master may himself send you to some other guru. Please learn this from him, or do this there. He may ask you, or you may have a desire and you want to do that. So you may ask your spiritual master, I would like to learn some aspects from somebody else. And it's always appropriate to ask the permission. May I do that? And sometime one may just follow instruction from somebody, maybe other Shiksha Guru, because the Shiksha Guru may be with you every day. He may be part of your life. But your Diksha Guru, he may not be always with you. So that's not objectionable. There is no objection in that. As long as you can see the connection between all the Shiksha Gurus and the Diksha Guru, how they are talking about the same topic, which is Krishna consciousness, based on the books of Srila Prabhupada. If you can see that, if you can connect it, then there's no problem. However, if you don't see that, and if you see the differences, oh, he is better than that one, and he is better than this one, then you will make offenses. Then it's not good. Then you just better to stick to one spiritual master and just listen from him everything until you become purified, until you become able to see the connections and see how the Guru always gives the same instruction based on Guru Saru Shastra, even though maybe from different angle. But until then it's not healthy. Yes?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Yes, was it Ashimata ji?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Janmasana. Hare Krishna Maharaj, Janmasana.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Janmasana. Maharaj, I have a different question. My question is, like, if someone is practicing Krishna consciousness for some time, and then for some reason she leaves his body or her body, then is there any serious consequence for the soul which departs from here, or is it okay? Matlab, how should we understand them? How should we perceive that?
Sorry, I could not hear everything.
Maharaj ji, my question is like if someone is practicing Krishna consciousness and for some reason the soul leaves the body.
The one who is practicing devotional service,
yes, and the person leaves the body before taking Diksha.
Sorry?
He's saying, Maharaj is saying before taking Diksha, if somebody leaves the body.
Yes.
Oh, before Diksha, he leaves his body.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, Srila Prabhupada had said that now accepting spiritual master, it's very important. So we need to take this instruction very seriously. Now, if it happens that the jiva leaves his body, before is able to take up devotional service, the diksha, take up. So, if the jiva was not purified completely to go back to Godhead, which in rare situation that could even be, he will be able to take next birth and continue where he ended. So nothing is lost. He will be able to continue on the path where he stopped.
Okay, Maharaj ji, got your point. Thank you, Maharaj ji. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
So for today we will end here.
Yes, Maharaj. I know. 1:15 is here. You have to go. So, thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you so very much. Hare Krishna.
Dasha Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. So we meet tomorrow, Maharaj.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And if you have some questions, there are enough questions, we can just then run maybe just a question answer session, or then we can continue with the next chapter.
Yes, Maharaj. We started next chapter last week, Maharaj.
We finished the chapter.
We finished it?
Yes, we finished it.
Oh.
And let me see. I think we did finish it. Yes, I think we are now on the Namartavada Aparadha.
Oh, okay, Maharaj. Okay.
Okay,
Maharaj.
all right.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So thank you, devotees, for coming and hearing Maharaj. I can't tell you how valuable these lessons will be there in our devotional life in future. We may not be able to connect or may think, but I can tell you in the time to come, they will be very invaluable, teachings for us. And I request everybody to please ask relevant questions, like Vinod Prabhu asked, because they're practical questions in our life, not philosophical understandings. And also Saurabh Prabhu asked. So thank you so very much. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.